What if Darth Vader became the Emperor? In Revenge of the Sith, we watch Vader's transformation and how he was sealed inside a life of metal and pain. For decades, he became little more than Palpatine's shadow, an obedient enforcer carrying out orders without question. But imagine it changed. Imagine Vader not as a puppet, but as the one who seizes the throne. How would the galaxy bend when the mask, not the master, held absolute power? In this alternate timeline, we explore that dark possibility, peeling back the consequences of a ruler born from rage and iron. The future will be reshaped by his merciless will. Let's begin. Our story truly begins 3 months after the fall of the Jedi Order. The Republic is dead, the Empire has risen, and fear has become the new language of the galaxy. High above the endless cityscape of Coruscant, inside the obsidian heart of the Imperial Palace, the new Emperor sits alone in his private office, cloaked in shadow and silence. Rumors have begun to slither through the corridors of power. Not of Jedi, not of separatists, of something far more dangerous. Treason. Whispered talk of an assassination plot aimed at the Emperor himself drifts among officers, aides, and courtiers. Nobody dares speak loudly, but the whispers still reach the man they fear most. Darth Sidious does not ignore such things. Suspicion has kept him alive for decades. So he summons his most lethal weapon. The office doors slide open with a low mechanical hiss, and Darth Vader steps through. His towering frame fills the doorway, armored in black from helmet to boots. Each step is marked by the steady rasp of his respirator, the sound echoing off polished walls and cold metal. "Lord Vader," the Emperor says. Vader bows his helmeted head. "My master." Sidious turns his chair slightly toward the massive window that overlooks the city, as if speaking to the world itself rather than the armored figure behind him. "The force churns around me," he says. "It tightens, it coils. Y sin sadenge. A threat directed at my life. Do you believe someone seeks to assassinate you?" Vader asks, his voice calm, distorted, metallic. "Believe?" Sidious lets out a dry, humorless chuckle. "No. I know something moves in the dark, and it does not come from the last scraps of the Jedi, or from scattered separatist cowards. No, this treachery is closer. It comes from within our own ranks." "Then name the traitor," Vader replies, "and I will destroy them." "If I knew, I would not have summoned you," the Emperor says. "You will find them. Take your inquisitors. Drag every secret from the shadows. Return to me with the names of those who plot against their Emperor." "As you command, my master." "Good. I will await your report, Lord Vader." Vader turns and departs, his cape flowing behind him. To any observer, it looks like simple, absolute obedience. The Emperor commands. His enforcer obeys. But behind the glossy black mask, beneath the plates of armor and the scars that cover his ruined body, something twists. Satisfaction. Palpatine has felt the threat, but he is wrong about its source. The traitor he fears is the one he just dismissed. For 3 months, Vader has been quietly weaving his own web. In sealed training halls, encrypted comm channels, and forgotten corners of fortress worlds, he has met with chosen members of the Inquisitorius. To them, he paints a new future. One without an old, decaying master clinging to power. One where the man they fear becomes the man they follow. A future with Vader on the throne. He speaks to their ambitions and wounds. They are sent to hunt Jedi across the stars, yet never trusted with true authority. Palpatine uses them as hounds, nothing more. Vader promises them something different. Sectors of their own, legions to command, power free from the Emperor's constant suspicion. To the Grand Inquisitor, he offers the greatest prize of all. When the Emperor falls, Vader tells him, "I will not kneel to another, but I will need a second, not a master. Above me, an apprentice beside me. Serve me, and you will share in my rule." The Grand Inquisitor is cautious, but he is also hungry. So are the others. Fear of the Emperor wrestles with their thirst for power. In the end, hunger wins. On the chosen day, deep within an Imperial hangar, the Grand Inquisitor approaches Vader with a small group at his back, blades at their sides, faces set. "Lord Vader," he says, bowing his tattooed head, "we are ready. Vader studies them in silence. "Today we strike at the heart of the Empire," he says. "Prove yourselves, and your reward will be beyond imagining. Betray me," he pauses, tilting his helmet slightly, "and you will not live long enough to regret it." No one speaks. They nod once. Together, they march down the gleaming corridor toward the Emperor's office. Imperial guards step aside, assuming this is just another report from the Emperor's hunters. The doors slide open. Inside, the Emperor turns his chair with a satisfied smile. "Lord Vader," he says, "I trust you bring news." "Yes," Vader replies, stepping forward as the Inquisitors fan out behind him. Sidious's yellow eyes flick briefly over the group. "Very good. I knew you would not disappoint me. You have found the traitors, then?" "You are mistaken, my master," Vader says. The Emperor's smile fades. "What? Your rule ends here." The duel, Palpatine's death, Vader seizing the throne. For a heartbeat, nothing moves. The city lights beyond the window burn silently. The air itself seems to hold its breath. Then Sidious slowly rises from his chair. "You dare," he whispers. Vader answers him with silence. Crimson light erupts as the Inquisitors ignite their sabers in unison, bathing the office in a violent red glow. The reflection burns across the window, the desk, the Emperor's robed form. Sidious reaches down, and his own scarred hand closes around a familiar hilt. With a snap hiss, his crimson blade springs to life. He attacks first. The Emperor moves with blinding speed, far faster than any of the Inquisitors expected. The first brother barely gets his saber up before Sidious's strike tears through his guard, armor, and chest in a single brutal sweep. The third sister lunges forward, but is met with a storm of blue lightning from Sidious's free hand. She screams, convulses, and falls just in time for his blade to end her. Two bodies hit the floor in seconds. "Is this your rebellion, Lord Vader?" The Emperor laughs. "These pitiful tools?" The Grand Inquisitor steps in beside Vader, spinning his weapon into a defensive guard. Together, they press forward. Vader's blows are heavy and relentless, each one driven by years of hatred and betrayal. The Grand Inquisitor moves like a blade made of smoke, quick cuts, probing thrusts, searching for any weakness. Sidious parries both, cloak swirling, teeth bared in a snarl that might once have been a smile. Sparks shower the air as red blades clash again and again. The Emperor's counterattacks are vicious, aimed not just to kill but to humiliate. Their sabers lock. "You are still a slave," Sidious hisses, inches from Vader's mask. "First to Sand and Sons, then to the Jedi, and now to me. A slave will never rule." Vader shoves him backward, metal boots grinding against the polished floor. The Grand Inquisitor dives in from the side, forcing Sidious to turn and defend. For the first time, the Emperor yields ground, each step carrying him closer to the raised platform near his desk. He leaps onto the steps and raises his hands. Enough! A storm of force lightning explodes from his fingers, turning the entire office into a field of searing, violet light. Vader raises his saber, catching the torrent, but pain screams through his armor as energy crawls across his chest plate and limbs. The Grand Inquisitor strains behind his own blade, teeth clenched, armor smoking. Vader's systems flash warnings. Circuits overload. The smell of burning plastic and scorched metal fills the air. Sidious laughs, pressing harder, eyes blazing with triumph. Then the lightning stops. Vader lowers his blade and sees why. Palpatine stands rigid, eyes wide, the Grand Inquisitor's crimson saber protruding from his chest. Smoke curls from the wound. For a heartbeat, the Emperor looks almost confused. "You fools," he rasps. The Grand Inquisitor twists the blade and pulls it free. Sidious sways once, then collapses at the foot of his own desk, Emperor of the Galaxy reduced to a smoking corpse on polished stone. Silence crashes down. "It is done," the Grand Inquisitor says, breathing hard. "The Emperor is dead. You are free, my lord." Vader stares at the body lying on the floor. He had imagined this moment for years. Striking Palpatine down. Ending the man who twisted his life, lied about saving Padme, encased him in metal and regret. In his mind, Vader's blade had always been the one that delivered the killing blow. But it was not his. The thought burns worse than the lightning. "You served well," Vader says quietly. The Grand Inquisitor straightens, hope flickering in his eyes. "Then together we will reshape the Empire, as you promised." "I will." Vader's saber snaps to life and drives straight through his chest. The Pau'an gasps, staring down at the crimson blade now impaling him. He looks up, eyes wide with betrayal. "Why? You were a means to an end," Vader replies. He deactivates the blade and lets the body fall beside Sidious. The Emperor, the Grand Inquisitor, and the remaining hunters lie dead. Vader stands alone among the corpses, respirator echoing in the suddenly quiet office. One master is gone. He does not intend to kneel again. In the days that follow, the official story spreads like wildfire, carefully controlled, precisely worded. Imperial channels announce that Emperor Palpatine has been murdered in a treacherous coup led by the corrupted Inquisitorius. The conspiracy, they say, was discovered and crushed by Darth Vader himself. The people are told their emperor died a martyr to treachery. To prevent chaos, someone must protect the Empire. That someone is Vader. An emergency session of the Imperial Senate is called. The Great Chamber hums with fear as senators fill their pods, desperate for answers. Into the center of the hall descends a single figure in black, flanked by clone troopers and dark-armored guards. Darth Vader raises a gloved hand. "Order," his mechanical voice booms. "We shall have order." The murmurs die. "Members of the Senate," he begins, "it is with regret that I confirm the Emperor is dead. He was betrayed by an arm of his own security, the Inquisitorius. Their treachery was swift. Their punishment was swifter. I have executed all known conspirators." A ripple of unease passes through the crowd. "To ensure such corruption never returns," Vader continues, "the Inquisitorius is disbanded. In its place, a new guardian will protect our worlds, KX security droids. They do not tire. They do not question. They do not betray." The word droid stirs old memories of the Clone Wars. Some senators shift uncomfortably. Others cling to the idea of emotionless guardians rather than ambitious, scheming officers. "These droids, alongside our loyal clone forces, will preserve the peace we have built," Vader says. "Until a new structure is determined, I will assume the responsibility of Imperial leadership. The stability we created will not die with one man." Applause begins, hesitant at first, then louder as fear smothers doubt. Yet not every pod joins in. A handful of senators watch in silence, eyes narrowed, gazes fixed on the black-armored figure in the center of the chamber. They know he has not inherited the throne. He has taken it. Around 800 words, main part, ACT-3, 20 years later, Vader's Empire, the Death Star, and the destruction of Tatooine, 20 years pass. Under Vader's reign, the Empire does not soften with time. It hardens. Deeper, sharper, more absolute. Imperial banners hang over more systems than ever. KX security droids stand on street corners, in government halls, at starports, silent enforcers with no sympathy and no fear. Where Palpatine once ruled with layers of manipulation, Vader rules with visible, undeniable power. For a while, the Senate limps on as a symbol. It reassures citizens to see familiar procedures and speeches continue. But the chamber has changed. Too many pods sit empty. Too many outspoken senators have vanished. Questions about missing colleagues or the expanding presence of KX droids result in quiet investigations and then silence. One day, almost casually, Vader issues the order. The Imperial Senate is dissolved. With that act, even the illusion of shared rule ends. There is only the Emperor, his fleets, his armies, and his machines. But power breeds resistance. In distant sectors, small cells of rebels sabotage supply depots, ambush patrols, and hack Imperial transmissions. Former senators and military officers who managed to slip away before the dissolution now direct credits, weapons, and information toward this growing underground. It is scattered and fractured, but the rebellion is real. Vader has been expecting it. Long before Palpatine died, a secret project began, a moon-sized battle station armed with a super laser capable of destroying entire planets. In the early days, Vader dismissed it as a distraction, an attempt to replace the Force with machinery. Now he sees something else. A single demonstration can shatter not just fleets, but hope itself. Construction continues under Grand Moff Tarkin. Scientists, engineers, and prisoners labor to complete the station. When it finally becomes operational, its existence is not announced. The galaxy is not told. Only a handful of high-ranking officers and Vader himself know that somewhere in deep space hangs a weapon that can erase a world with one shot. At the same time, Vader turns his focus inward. The suit that once kept him alive was also a cage, heavy, restrictive, laced with deliberate weaknesses. Palpatine never intended his apprentice to be too strong. Now, with the Emperor dead and no master above him, Vader has it rebuilt. He draws in the best cybernetic surgeons, armorers, and engineers from across the Empire. Piece by piece, the cage becomes armor. The new suit looks nearly the same from the outside, but it moves differently. Lighter, stronger, more responsive. Pain is reduced. Control is increased. On the battlefield, Vader becomes even more terrifying. He moves faster, strikes harder. His red blade is a storm. Survivors whisper that the Emperor in black is more machine and more monster than ever before. He leads assaults personally. Rebel hideouts fall in showers of fire and ash. KX droids sweep through streets while Vader himself walks at the center of the storm, bending blaster fire aside with a flick of his wrist and dragging enemies off their feet with invisible hands. Yet, for all his victories, a single name gnaws at him. Obi-Wan Kenobi. For years, Vader has searched. Probes scour the Outer Rim. Spies report every rumor of a robed wanderer with a blue lightsaber. KX droids interrogate prisoners, sift through data, and chase fleeting leads. Many fugitives are caught and executed, but none are Kenobi. The man who left him crippled and burning on Mustafar remains a ghost. Until one day, the ghost flickers into focus. Deep in his fortress on Mustafar, Vader stands in a flickering red-lit war room as a blue hologram snaps to life. Commander Fox appears, armor scratched and worn by decades of service. "What is it, Commander?" Vader asks. "An anonymous tip, my lord," Fox replies. "Obi-Wan Kenobi has been sighted." The name hangs in the air like a blade. "Where?" Vader demands. "Tatooine, sir." Reports place him in a local cantina. Exact location unknown, but multiple witnesses describe a robed off-worlder matching his appearance. Vader's respirator continues its steady rhythm, but inside the armor something twists. Tatooine, the world of slavery and sand, the place where a boy once dreamed of escaping the heat and dust and smallness of his life. For Kenobi to hide there of all places feels like mockery. Part of Vader wants to go himself, to feel Kenobi's throat under his own hand, to look him in the eye when the light goes out. But there is a colder, cleaner option. He commands a weapon now that can do far more than kill one man. "I see," Vader says. "Inform Grand Moff Tarkin that our weapon is ready for its first test. Target, Tatooine. He may fire at will." Fox hesitates only a fraction of a second. "At once, my lord." The transmission cuts. Vader turns to the viewing window where rivers of lava crawl beneath a black sky. For a moment, memories of sand and suns press at the edges of his mind. A boy, his mother, a small house in the desert. Then the dark side rises, and the memories burn away. In the cold of space, the battle station aligns its super laser. A spear of green energy lances across the void and strikes the small, desert world. In seconds, Tatooine is gone. From orbit, it becomes a ring of molten debris and expanding dust. Every life on the planet, smugglers, farmers, criminals, innocents, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, vanishes in an instant. Vader feels a brief flare in the Force. Familiar. Stubborn. The echo of a man standing on a lava bank, blade raised. Then nothing. Kenobi is dead. For the first time in years, Vader allows himself the feeling of a completed wound. The man who cut him down is gone. The planet that caged his childhood is dust. Let the galaxy learn what it means to defy its emperor. But the death of a world cannot be hidden. Stories seep out along smuggler routes and border worlds. Pilots speak of a system where a planet should exist, but there is only rubble. Rebel agents collect fragments of reports until a single terrible conclusion remains. The Empire destroyed Tatooine. If one world can be erased, nowhere is safe. The rebellion stops whispering. Within days, rebel fleets commit fully. Squadrons bearing unfamiliar insignias converge on Mustafar, aiming to strike at the very heart of the terror that destroyed a planet. Star Destroyers move to intercept, but enemy ships punch through the blockade and race toward the Black Fortress hanging over the lava. Deep inside that fortress, in a sealed hangar, 100 KX droids activate at once. Optics flare to life. Combat routines load. Deploy, Vader commands. The ground assault begins. Rebel soldiers storm obsidian corridors, blasters blazing. KX units march forward to meet them, tall, relentless, tearing through the first waves with brutal efficiency. Bodies fall. Smoke thickens. Metal feet never break stride. For a time, it seems the Empire will crush the attack as easily as any other. Then, in the chaos of blaster fire and falling stone, a new light appears in the lower halls. A single blade of bright blue carves through the smoke, and through the leading rank of droids. ACT-4, Leia revealed, Duel with Vader, and her turn. The blue blade moves like lightning through metal. KX units that had been unstoppable against rebel soldiers fall in pieces, sparks flying as limbs and torsos hit the obsidian floor. In the flashing light of blaster fire, the figure wielding the saber is only a blur. Cloak sweeping, boots pounding, each movement quick and precise. Vader watches the security feeds from a command platform deep in his fortress. Around him, officers shout tactical updates and status reports, but he hears only the hum of that blade. That color. That sound. A Jedi. Impossible. Tatooine was destroyed. Kenobi is dead. The Jedi Order is dust. Yet there, on the holoscreen, someone cuts through his KX droids with a blue lightsaber, pushing steadily toward the central hall. Divert units to Sector 12, one officer calls. Sector 12 is all ready. Another droid shatters on screen. Leave them, Vader says. I will deal with this myself. He turns and strides from the room, cape flowing behind him. The fortress trembles. Slightly as turbolasers and proton torpedoes trade fire in the sky above, but inside, the halls are dominated by the rhythmic echo of his own mechanical breathing. He walks to meet the intruder. In the lower levels, the last of the KX droids falls, cut cleanly in half. The blue blade flickers off. For a moment, the corridor is lit only by emergency strips and the glow of distant fires. Then heavy mechanical steps approach. Vader steps out of the smoke and darkness, towering above the scattered droid remains. Who are you, Jedi? He asks, his voice filling the hall. The figure at the far end lifts their head and slowly lowers their hood. A young woman stands before him, perhaps 20 years old. Dark hair pulled back, eyes blazing with determination. Rebel insignia marked in worn fabric. A lightsaber hilt still firm in her hand. I'm here to end your rule, she says. Vader studies her. There is something strangely familiar in the shape of her face, the set of her jaw, the fire in her eyes. The force around her feels known. Leia Organa, he says slowly. Daughter of Senator Organa of Alderaan. She narrows her eyes. I'm surprised you know my name, especially considering you were the one who made my father disappear. Her grip tightens on the hilt. He spoke out against your corruption, against your droids, against Tatooine. Then he vanished. Now you'll pay for it. Your father's usefulness had ended, Vader replies. It was a simple correction. Call it whatever you want, she snaps. Murder is murder. The blue blade ignites again with a sharp hiss. We need not be enemies, Vader says. You're strong in the Force, but untrained. Crude. Join me, and I will complete your training. Together we could bring order this galaxy has never seen. I'll never join a monster, Leia says. My master told me everything about you. Her words stick. Your master. Vader goes still. Your master, he repeats. Who trained you? That doesn't matter, she says. All that matters is that this ends today. She charges. The corridor explodes into light and motion as red and blue blades clash. Leia moves with speed and precision, her strikes guided by instinct and training. Vader meets her blows almost lazily at first, measuring her skill. She is strong, brave, quick, but she is not him. Each of Vader's counterstrikes carries weight forged in decades of war and pain. Leia blocks, deflects, twists away.